What were you expecting? Were you expecting that he was going to pull a rabbit right out of his butt and say, here, look at this? No, no. He came up with something that everybody is interested in. If I was going to do it, that's who I'd pick. Mainly because I can get the tonnage and the reliability. Mm-hmm. So that would be my first choice. My predictions and thoughts, I think that 2024 is going to be a watershed year. Lots of the North American car companies have backed away from the EV world, but basically because they're listening to what Wall Street has to say. But I think that there's going to be a shift, probably somewhere close to the election, when people kind of understand who might get elected, and that'll probably be more of a determining factor than pretty much anything that makes any logical sense. Sun Tzu is one of my favorite philosophers, and he says all the time that you should attack where your enemy is not. Who's the enemy? Well, the enemy to the Chinese is any OEM, any ICE manufacturing OEM. Where is that enemy not? They're not in electric. Those MBAs sat there thinking, oh, we don't have to worry. We're going to have sunshine forever. And when you get people talking like that, they can't figure out what the future is going to be. And the future was not that dim reflection of the past. They did nothing. And
let's get started on a topic that is sure to cause waves in the history of Tesla stock. None other than Sandy Munro, the well-known industry expert whose forecasts have the power to rock the market like never before. In this episode, we'll examine SAI's most recent revelations that could completely change the course of Tesla stock, from revolutionary breakthroughs in battery technology to revolutionary understandings of global supply chains. The automobile sector is about to be rocked by Sandy Munro's skills. How will the inflow of Chinese cars affect the U.S. market? What effects does the Inflation Reduction Act have on incentives for electric vehicles? And what does Sandy think the future holds for battery technology? Thus, you won't want to miss a minute of this conversation, so fast forward through the introduction and be sure to hit those like as well as subscribe buttons. This is news on Tesla stock. Let's get started straight away. SAI's dropping some major insights here. He's been in the trenches working closely with suppliers, pondering when the traditional vehicle era will come to an end, initially eyeing 2030. Sands now thinking we might hit that turning point as early as 2028. Sandy Munro's bold predictions suggest that by 2028, a staggering 50% of vehicles gracing the world's roads could be electric. Now, let that sink in for a moment. We're not just talking about a minor shift here. We're talking about a seismic transformation in the automotive landscape. But wait, it gets even more electrifying. This shift isn't confined to the borders of the United States alone. Oh no, it's a global phenomenon set to reverberate across continents, from bustling city streets in New York, the winding roads in Tokyo. The rise of electric vehicles is poised to reshape the way we commute, travel, and interact with our environment on a global scale. Picture this bustling metropolis illuminated by the glow of electric vehicles silently gliding through the streets. Imagine scenes unaffected by the roar of internal combustion engines as electric vehicles wind through scenic country roads and winding mountain passes. But what's causing this monumental change is a confluence of factors, from advances in battery technology that make electric vehicles more accessible and affordable to growing consumer understanding of environmental issues, is encouraging them to choose greener decisions. Governments all over the world are also putting policies and incentives in place to speed up the shift to electric mobility, which is further igniting the electric revolution. Some may be wondering if we're really ready for this, if we have enough factories producing materials and battery plants, but SAI's got a point there. Infrastructure is already in place, if not exactly here. And with the demand for electric vehicles rising due to people like you and me, it's just a matter of time till we witness that transformation. Consider how much gasoline it would save by charging for free. Take this guy with the Chevy Bolt, for instance. He slashed his monthly travel expenses from $125 to just $9. That's some serious savings right there. But hey, we get it, change can be daunting, especially for those skeptical of climate change or suspicious of government agendas. But here's the thing, this isn't just about us, it's about the future we're building for the next generation. And trust me when I say it's the kids who are leading the charge. When you see those little ones coming up passionate about a cleaner, greener tomorrow, you realize it's not just about us anymore, it's about them. And what kind of world we're leaving in their hands. There's a lot to unpack here, and size hitting the nail on the head with some game-changing insights. Now forget about those traditional marketing strategies. Targeting the 35 to 55 demographic. Size got his sights set further ahead, thinking about where we'll be in a decade. And let's be real, he's not your typical marketing guru with an MBA. But hey, who needs fancy degrees when you've got vision right now? Let's talk numbers right now. With a massive 70% of the market, Tesla is stomping all other competitors, including Ford, which is only slightly behind with roughly 7%. But hold on, a true game changer is about to arrive. China is not holding back when it comes to pointing at that chart that displays a decade's worth of global EV sales. Needless to say, with companies like BYD and CATL leading the charge, China is poised to shake things up big time, possibly grabbing up to 30% of the US market. But here's the kicker. Are we ready for the influx of Chinese cars? Can they even compete well? That's where things get a little tricky. You see, there's this so-called Inflation Reduction Act with all these incentives for electric cars, but there's a catch. The batteries have to be made in the USA. That's a crucial piece of the puzzle because without locally made batteries, those incentives might just disappear into thin air by 2030. All vehicle parts, components, and materials must have 100% US origin value in order to be eligible for certain incentives. But here's the catch. Money talks. Although those rewards sound appealing, don't lose sight of the wider picture. Gary makes a good point when he says that if a car is desirable, people will buy it no matter where it is manufactured. Additionally, the cost of electric vehicles is decreasing, trend making them even more alluring. But wait, what if someone says that Biden will stop allowing imports? Well, guess where GM makes its money? The US, and the company has the numbers to prove it. Just look at Volkswagen and General Motors. Their sales in China have plummeted, and their profit margins have been cut in half. Dominating a sizable portion of the market will undoubtedly give investors confidence, and it certainly does. Show off your Tesla confidence. You know who else owns stock in Tesla optimism for Tesla bulls and those with a keen eye for finding the next stock market gem. It's not just about watching from the sidelines when it comes to the company's remarkable progress, according to our friends at Seeking Alpha. Seeking Alpha is your one-stop shop for the most recent Tesla information. Targets for Tesla stock price innovation from Tesla and everything musky long. The ideal strategy is to seek Alpha. Online news sources for Tesla avoid the lamestream media's negative coverage of the company and focus only on the facts. Visit the description's link to receive a unique discount. What would happen if we decided to stop importing goods from China? It's not as easy as you might think. For example, consider the nationalization of Argentina and Brazil, which almost forced automakers out of business. Can you imagine what would happen to GM and Volkswagen if China did the same? Shareholders would not be happy about those suit-wearing guys pushing for outsourcing. Sai has a different viewpoint and favors vertical integration and keeping things close to home. But let's face it, can these businesses just stop and quit? Convincing the younger generation, who are passionate about environmental issues, that we have enough resources here is a tough sell. Sure, we have nickel and Sudbury, but they're not being mined because, well, we just don't need them. The US heavily relies on China for raw materials, especially lithium. Let's talk batteries, specifically the 4680 battery now. Initially, we may have miscalculated the cost of this battery. Turns out, it's actually cheaper than we anticipated. This thing is a steal. We made some rough estimates on a chart, but the real analysis is yet to come, and let me tell you, it's not just the cost that's surprising. It's packing more power than we ever imagined. Now, when Tesla drops news about their energy or battery advancements, it's impressive, no doubt, but we've got to put it to the test ourselves to ensure our customers are getting the real deal. And let me tell you, this battery is exceeding our expectations here. Instead, they shipped the equipment to China. Now this jelly roll design, it's genius, easy to assemble, fewer things that can go wrong. And if it does, just toss it and grab another. Plus recycling is a breeze, making lithium and nickel more affordable. But let's not forget about other battery types out there. Sulfur, iron, sulfur. They're all available. We don't need complicated processing for lithium. The challenge lies in accessing the properties where it's found. Take the Badlands, for example, loaded with lithium, but tough to access. And don't even get me started on thorium and other tricky elements mixed in. Well, that is a whirlwind of information we've covered today, from the groundbreaking advancements in battery technology to the complexities of global supply chain and the future of electric vehicles. The automobile sector is undoubtedly about to undergo a significant shift. But let's quickly review before we go. This is where we turn the conversation over to you. What are your thoughts on the future of battery technology in electric vehicles? Sandy provided us with some eye-opening insights into the evolution of batteries, shedding light on their cost-effectiveness and power capabilities. We also dug into the complexities of global trade dynamics, particularly with regard to Chinese manufacturers and their potential impact on the U.S. market. Finally, let's not forget the importance of sustainable mining practices as we navigate the demand for essential resources like lithium. Are you optimistic about Tesla's chances in the market? What other subjects would you like us to cover in upcoming episodes? Remember to click like if you thought this conversation was informative. For further updates, sign up for Tesla stock news as well. I appreciate you viewing, and see you later.